Hello everyone, Bigdosses here and welcome to another video. In this video we're gonna look at a Azure Vault 14 I did earlier as a Beast Mastery Hunter. So this is a pug run with the healer who is a friend of mine, so it's not entirely a pug run but still. And we're just gonna look at how the dungeon goes, and I'm gonna talk about everything that I do, what I do wrong, and where I can improve and stuff like that. So if this is something that you like, then consider leaving a like and subscribe to my channel. Now on the first bull, as you can see, I am not using the silencing arrow. And that's because it is boss week and I decided to take bloodshed for the focused on single target. That is a different, the rest of the build is, if you can look at my Beast Mastery Hunter guide, you will see a Mythic Plus build that I use. And there you can see the talents that I'm running. So for these mobs, nice English, the Mystic Vapors is actually quite dangerous. So use your silencing arrow if you have taken it, or use your interrupts, use your stun. I maybe even should use my traps, but it is mob week and the mobs are dying fairly quickly, but you can focus on that, on making sure that that cost doesn't go off, because it actually hits like a truck. Now we jump down and we go on to the first boss area. These arcane tenders, there's nothing special. The cost that he did just now, you can actually make sure that you feint at it when it's focused on you. So when the channel actually goes off, you just simply feint that and the cost is not active anymore. Besides that, you should actually just interrupt it. But if you for some reason are not interrupting, or no one in your party is interrupting, then that is something that you can do. I don't know if you can actually stun it. If that is the case, then, well, I should have stunned that mob there. And what I noticed with the FX right now is that when it's on the tank, as you can see, by the way, there I had it on me, I used feint that, and it was gone. But what I see with the FX of +10 is that tanks usually do not move anymore, and I think that is a good thing, because they will have frontals on them, and when they just turn around to start running to a DPS to make sure that the stack drop off after 15 seconds or just before 15 seconds, then what happens is that the mobs will get turned around and suddenly they will smack the party with a frontal. So as a mobile DPS like ourselves in BM, we should move towards other people, and we should move to our tank, for example, if we can match up with him. Be wary though, of course, of how do you say that? Well, English is hard. Be wary of the frontals, of course. Now here we just start DPSing, nothing special. There are a couple of abilities that actually hit very hard. There you can see that the other tank or the other hunter is combining its stacks with the tank. So I did not have to do it, but I was walking forward. Now, explosive brand, this is okay, but now this will hurt very much. Use a defensive here. As you can see, I'm not using a defensive, and it actually hurt quite a bit. And now my fat fingers actually screw up, and I will use turtle there for that massive explosion that we got right there. So that's not so smart of me, because when he does another one of those fat hits, I actually want my turtle up, and I do not have it. Luckily, I am with the healer, and so I ask for Iron Bark next, so he can help me give me a defensive. Because, and I'm wondering how that is for you guys, but are you struggling as well with staying alive in this like random pulsing damage stuff where you actually, well, you can't really do anything, and you just get like, well, I want to say almost one shot sometimes, and you can't do anything about it. I find it very, very frustrating. There you can see I almost died because of a simple mechanic, and if I do not have any defensives up, then, well, I simply just die there. One last thing on this boss, when he spawns all those ads, I am using the Sentient Owl with the Leech ability. use that when all the ads are clumped up. So make sure that you have it thrown out just before they all get clumped up. That way you can just DPS and it's not a DPS loss. But throw that down because everyone will get 5% leech. That is nothing special, but 5% leech on all those mobs while you all get a hard hit you will start to AoE cleave, and that way you will be able to make sure that you heal up quickly. And make the life of your healer just simply a lot easier. Now we get to the platform where in bugging I see a lot of groups dying a lot, and that is because I think people do not know the mechanics of the certain mobs that are there. And so we're gonna talk about everything that you need to be mindful of. Like, of course, these arcane elementals are there. The arcane bolt, I am kicking it right now. It is not the bolt that you should actually, well, you should kick it, but it's Waking Bane that you could see right there that you should stun, interrupt, do anything about, because Waking Bane will actually put you to sleep. Your healer can, I think, remove that, cleanse it, but you will fall to sleep. And the giant guy, the unstable curator, will drop down massive bottles on the ground, and you will get one shot by it if you fall asleep. So if you are new to kicking, make sure that you start kicking everything. If you are almost never kicking, then at least kick the Waking Bane. As you can see right there, I think one went through and the hunter is falling asleep. Luckily, he was able to dodge everything and it is fine. Now, let's see. In the next pool, is there already one of those very dangerous mobs? I don't think so. No, there is not. The Rune Seal Keeper, it's fine. Seeing this back, and as I stated earlier, I should have used my silencing arrow for this dungeon. Luckily, the other hunter is using it because this dungeon has a lot of magic damage and a lot of casters, and so I should have been using that. Now, the condensed fire, I do not actually know what it does, but here we have the Crystal Fury. Those mobs, the little giant stone mobs, they are the most dangerous of all, and you should be able to help your tank with them. Because as you can see, they will do an ability called Piercing Shards. And Piercing Shards is a frontal, which hits like a truck. It stacks. That's why you can't pull everything in this room together. It stacks, it's a frontal, and the damage is very high. What you can do to help out your tank, because your tank will die at a couple of stacks of Piercing Fury, your tank will simply just die. So first off, remove the enrage in this week, for example. Second off, make sure that you use your stun when the cast goes through, because you can't interrupt it, but you can stun it. So use your stun for that. If you are not using Binding Shot, you actually even can use your, I think it's called Scatter Shot. You can use your Scatter Shot as well to make sure that you interrupt it. So Arcane Fury is off. I'm not sure if I can use my Trank Arrow there to remove that. Not sure. Maybe I can. But yeah, this is something to be mindful of, especially in boss or in mob week when these mobs hurt a lot more than they are doing now. Help your tank out by using your intimidation on that ability from that mob. Now we go down further. So far this dungeon is I think fairly doable. It's in boss week, and with, well, I think the last 3 bosses of this dungeon are actually pretty hard, and we're gonna see how that goes for this group. So here we just go on, we start DPSing these guys down. Now here he does Conjured Barrier, and I want to use Strength Shot to remove the barrier, but the barrier is so small that doing, I think, 1-2 damage hits will already remove the barrier. So I don't really know why that is, or why that ability even exists. I know Blizzard really wants to make everything doable for everyone, but like we have tranquilizing shot for a reason. Just to what my mind is at. For example, if you think about Ruby life pools, there is these caster mobs at the start of the dungeon. They will channel a shield on a person. I should stun that. Luckily someone else stunned it as well. But in Ruby life pools, there is this mob which channels a massive shield on enemies. And you can just trank it off. So you can either kick it, but if you fail the kick, then the shield will get bigger and bigger and bigger, up to 3 stacks. But we as hunters can actually trank that, making the ability very worthwhile. And though it doesn't really show on the damage meters, you actually remove a 200k shield or something. Like, consider that a kick or a damaging ability of 200k hit, for example. That makes the ability very much worthwhile. Now, they nerfed that, and they nerfed it massively. So now it's almost not worth even taking Trank Shot for that. And just, you know, if you do your DPS rotation, then you're through the shield already. So yeah, on these mobs, on the other hand, do actually use your Trank Shot to remove, let's see if I can see the ability again, and otherwise I'm gonna point it out on another mob. Do you see after the enraging there was a blue sort of thingy on them, like a shards icon? Is it shards? Skills is the word used to kick that, or not kick, remove it with Trank. And why is that? It is because that ability will reduce the damage of spellcasters on that mob by, I think it's 20%. So effectively reducing 20% of the overall damage that, for example, the Shadow Priest is doing. Now I do not have, I should have used Disengage there, because Disengage removes the massive brain fart, removes the root. So yeah, here I'm just casually dying. I do not know. No, Disengage was on cooldown. Okay, that's why I did not use it. But there I could have, well, not used Disengage, but I should have used Disengage on that. Now, for some reason, we are actually dying quite badly here, but it is fine. Luckily, we do not pull the Skillbane Lieutenant, and I get rest. I am on comms, of course, with the healer, and I say, well, just rest me and I'll help with the kicks, and I'll help with the rest of this pool. And so that's what I'm doing right now. Let's clear this off. But if you're watching so far, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you think I can do better, or if you like this at all. If you do like this, then, well, leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a ton. Leave a comment as well. Just, you know, tell me something about how your pugging adventures are going in M+, or if you are running with a like a full group or a good team comp. Let me know something like that in the comments. I would really like to know. Now we're gonna do this next pull. This ice binding, we should really focus on kicking that, because the AoE abilities afterwards are actually really screwing us over. The Vault Guard there, I should remove that shield. I am not actually doing that, making the Shadow Priest really less useful. It is not really important in this case, because the Shadow Priest was not here. And because the Shadow Priest was not here, well, then why bother? Then it's a DPS loss. In a sense, of course, because our healer is also doing magic damage, I think. So yeah, he is not cat weaving, and I think cat weaving is physical. But yeah, now we clear the Skillbane Lieutenant, and then we're up onto Azure Blades, one of the bosses that really is not difficult, I think, especially not with the Blood Decay, but you'll see why. But you will need to be able to dodge a lot. And so for spellcasters, I think this boss could be a living hell. I find it a lot less terrible. Now, Make sure that you try and kick as many of those illusionary bolts as you can. And right now I am holding on to Lust, and that is because we are using Lust for the first phase, for the first ad phase. Now, here you can see why Blood Decay is so amazing in this. You will just simply grab them in, and yeah, that is very nice. You can use your that chakram here, because it will bounce between some of these mobs, making you able to still deal high amounts of damage to them. But the damage in this phase is actually quite high, so make sure that you are using your defenses properly to make sure that you stay alive as much as you can. I should have maybe used Sentinel Owl there as well, on like maybe if I can clip like 2 of those mobs and the boss, well, even two mobs, if you can effectively cleave, maybe double dot them or something, you will deal just a little bit more damage and you can heal yourself up in that phase. So yeah. Now, of course, dodge the giant ancient orb thing. It actually hurts quite a lot. I'm not sure on the plus 13 if you would die to it. I think so. So here I'm running, looking for the other person with the buff, but everyone has already removed it, and I can hold mine on, which is quite nice. And now we go into the second ad phase, because we did not kill it quickly enough. There we have it, but I use Sentinel Owl on 1. Maybe I should throw it in the middle and like clip them both. I think that would work. If we talk about improvement, that is improvement, I think. And I should use Barb Shot on both as well, making me heal myself just a little bit more. And I could have used for an Iron Bark there. I did not actually ask for it, but yeah. Now let's just focus on the boss. I maybe shouldn't have used Multi-Shot there, because Multi-Shot, of course, reduces the damage you do to a single target, because you will start cleaving. And I was cleaving on the mob, the little mob, and I wasn't really planning on killing that little mob, so I should have maybe stayed with, how do you say that, with just single target. Now I'm gonna dismiss my pet. I'm gonna call my my other pet called Patrick, which is a spirit beast, because I just used Lust, and now I can use my spirit beast again for the extra health and the increased defensive ability, which gives me a 20% health increase every 2 minutes if I want to use that, with a slight heal from spirit beast itself. But that heal is it negligible? Is that the English word? I am not sure. It's not really, well, let's just keep it with that word. I don't know a better word for it right now. So here, I really do not like this pool, or I do not like this area. The pool is fine. I find the jumping frogs really annoying. So how the healer did it at the start was very nice, with the swirly where they get dragged in, because then you can effectively cleave them down just a little bit better. Now they just start jumping around all over the place. They really don't deal any damage. You can easily dodge them. I find this just an obnoxious pool. But it's part of the dungeon, so hey, let's just accept the fact that that is the case. Now let's see. The screen was stuttering there for a bit. I don't know if you guys have seen that, probably. I am not sure if that is because I am watching it back, or that is because, well, my screen is currently stuttering. I do not know. Anyway, we'll just keep on going. Now, I've seen multiple runs of this dungeon, and you can do it like this. Like we go to the bottom of the stairs, and there we do this pull, and we'll leave it with that. But the only thing that actually deals damage in this pull is that big guy. The rest doesn't really deal any damage unless you just stand and fuck up. So a friend of mine is tank, and what I see him do is run all the way down the stairs, around the corner, and pull pulls everything here as well. It is quite a long run, but then you can effectively cleave just a little bit better. So yeah, I personally like the way he does that. And when I play Protection Paladin, I pull it in the same way as he does, because, well, this is just a little bit more effective, if you ask me. Now we will do the next room, and if you follow the exact route that we are doing right now, then you will need to pull everything in this room. And you will see shortly that we will not be doing that, which makes us miscount. But that's not really an issue, because later on our healer will make it a little bit more dicey, making the timer a little bit shorter, but we'll manage. So now you can pull everything in this room as well, because there's nothing really that dangerous in this room. So yeah, just pull the frogs. It's fine. And as you can see, the Terrasec looters are pulled, and it looks like everything is pulled, but on the left side there is still a frog there, and we should have, I think it's a frog, I'm not entirely sure. It's been a couple of days since I actually played this dungeon. So yeah, not sure. We'll see. Now we go onward, and then we will shortly have a double boss, and those bosses are actually very, very difficult, if you ask me. As you can see on the amount of count, I don't know if you guys got that sound effect, but if you can look at the amount of count, then you will see that I need 25% or 0.25%. And now on these charges, I tried to use my disengage on the last possible second. I'm not sure that didn't really work. I am not sure if you can actually feign death it when they charge. Remove the enrage on these mobs, by the way, because the roar actually already does quite an amount of damage on boss week, let alone when they are enraged. So make sure that you focus on that. Welcome back, guys. Well, I'm finally back. Sorry for the technical difficulties. There was something wrong with the camera that stuck, and well, it didn't really all work out as I wanted, but we're back, and we died on that boss because our healer decided to jump off the platform, so there was nothing really special about that as well. Anyway, we needed some count, and so we're getting some count here. The tank is still dead, but well, for these mobs you don't really need a tank because they just jump around, and so, well, that's fine. And now we're finally going to the next boss, and we're gonna do it for a second try. So the timer was pretty all right, and now the timer is a little tighter. We have 6 minutes and 40 seconds left, and we will use Bloodlust. I typed that. We will use Bloodlust after the first transition, because the first transition is actually quite quickly, and so we use Bloodlust after that. Now we do the first boss, and make sure that you draw the puddles on the edges, and not like some of the other people do. Don't throw the puddles in the middle, because it will make it so much harder for the rest of us to walk past this. We are luckily fine because we can disengage over this stuff, but still it is quite dangerous. So here we take the first hit. We are not using a defensive for this one, we are fine. And now we Bloodlust, and we use Bloodshed to kill this boss. What I try to do is throw my puddles of ice close to where the other puddles of ice are, because this will take a lot of time, this boss, and so we need the entire platform. If you are focused by the Ice Devastator, you can simply use Feign Death to remove it, and it will stop casting. Now here I turtle, and the priest is amazing. He life grips me out of the ice. My turtle was fine. If I had known that he would life grip me, I wouldn't have used turtle there, but still, it is very nice. And as you can see, what I keep on trying to do is make sure that the puddles are close to each other. Now we go into the second transition. This is, I find it a lot of wasted time. Like, why is this cost 7 seconds? There's no need. There's no need for this cost to be that long. And in the meantime, while we waited, I told the hunter that he could use Feign Death to make sure that he's not getting hit by it. What I'm doing wrong here is I'm using my death chakram way too late, because death chakram will increase the damage taken by the mob, and I had also bloodshed on him, and death chakram is up for like 10 seconds or so, and bloodshed only had 4 seconds left, and I could have used it way earlier. So I think I should have done that earlier, but it is fine. The mob is dying, or the boss is dying, and that is the mechanics of this boss fight, to be honest. Make sure that you run out quickly, use your defensives, use your abilities to stay alive, and hope for the best, and hope that your healer helps you, because you kind of need that. But yeah, let's go on to the last boss. This boss, I think, looks amazing. I really, really, really like how the aesthetics of this boss are. What I should be doing right now is I should have taken the Spirit Beast pet instead of the Bloodlust pet, because I'm not gonna lust in this fight, and so I should have just swapped them around. But yeah, you don't want to move too much on this fight, and why is that? Is it because you will get a ramping dot, or I don't think it's a dot, it's like you will walk just slower. I got 10 stacks of it right now. I should not be moving. You are very slowed, and so I should just be standing still. Now we get to the detonating crystals. It is very, very important that you make sure that these die. So stay focused on them. Make sure that you cleave the farther ones first. As you could see earlier on, I started with focusing on the one closest to the tank, but the one closest to the tank is the one that the tank actually can cleave, and so that's why I swapped to the ones further, because the ones further the tank can't cleave. That way the tank doesn't have to move the boss. We don't have to be afraid of any frontals that might take place. So you want the tank to stay put as much as he can. So yeah. Now we go and we just make sure that we cleave some of the outer ones. The ones that are a little bit stacked are of course nice. I find it very difficult with your pets to make sure that they kill one. Here I see that one of them is not actually being focused, and so that's why I swapped my focus, because I saw the tank running towards the one that he was killing. Swap my focus, because you really need to take them down. And that is this fight. That is what we do. We make sure that you dodge the breath. You make sure that you, how do you say that? Kill the crystals. This boss is really not that hard, as long as you are killing the crystals. If you're not killing the crystals, this boss is very hard. So if your DPS is not high enough for the crystals, then well, yeah. Here we have 3 very nicely stacked, so we can nicely beast cleave them. Now I'm gonna move to the one a little bit further away to kill that one. Luckily the Shadow Priest is dealing a lot of single target damage, I think, because he is really bursting them down. Or I think it's the Shadow Priest, I'm not sure. Just move out of that circle. That was a little bit close, and we are still within the timer. So having a wipe, well, we almost had 2 wipes this run. You can still time this. I see some groups that just leave the key after 1 wipe on this dungeon. You don't really have to. You should not wipe too many times, of course, but it is very much doable. So that was this run. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I very much enjoyed making it, and I will hope to see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.